ఓకే. మీరిక్కడ ఒక కొటేషన్ చెప్పారు. నగరం లోపల నగరం. ఏంటి దీన్ని ఇంత అద్భుతంగా తీర్చిదిద్దటానికి కారణం ఏంటి? అంటే సామాన్యులకి మీ ఏఎస్‌బీఎల్ అందుబాటులో ఉంటుందా?
అబ్సల్యూట్లీ అండి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తే మేము మేజర్లీ మా వర్క్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్లో చేస్తున్నాము. వీఆర్ కేటరింగ్ టు మన ఐటీ బయర్స్. ఆ ఏరియాలో ఏంటంటే చాలా ఐటీ ఆఫీసర్స్ వచ్చి ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ జనరేషన్ ఉంది కాబట్టి మేము ఆ ఏరియాలో ఉన్నాము. సామాన్యుల పర్స్పెక్టివ్లో మీరు చూస్తే ఈ గత 3 సంవత్సరాలల్లో 2,000 స్క్వేర్ ఫీట్ కింద ఇన్వెంటరీ ఎక్కడ లేదు ఆ ఏరియాలో. ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ 2,500 ఎస్ఎఫ్టీ కిందనే ఎక్కడ లేదు అపార్ట్మెంట్ సైజులు. సో అట్లాంటిది మెయిన్లీ అది దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని మేము ఇందులో 1,700 స్క్వేర్ ఫీట్ 3 BHK అండ్ 1,900 స్క్వేర్ ఫీట్ 3 BHK డిజైన్ చేయడం జరిగింది. మెయిన్లీ ఇది ఏంటంటే న్యూ కొత్తగా వచ్చే ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీస్ కోసము తయారు చేసిన ఇన్వెంటరీ అండి. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ నగరం లోపటే నగరం మేము ఏదైతే అన్నామో ఫైనాన్షియల్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ గురించి మనందరికీ తెలిసిన విషయం ఏంటంటే తెలంగాణ మొత్తానికి హైదరాబాద్ క్యాపిటల్. నాట్ జస్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్, ఈవెన్ వ్యాపార రంగానికి కూడా హైదరాబాద్ రాజధాని. హైదరాబాద్కి ఫైనాన్షియల్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ రాజధాని అంటాం మేము. ఎందుకంటే మీరు ఆ ఏరియాలో టాప్ వరల్డ్ కంపెనీస్ లైక్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్, అమెజాన్, గూగుల్ వీళ్ళందరూ ఆఫీసులు పెట్టారు. అండ్ నాట్ జస్ట్ ఏదో చిన్న ఆఫీసు, వాళ్ళ యుఎస్లో ఉన్న క్యాంపస్ అంత పెద్ద ఆఫీసులు పెట్టారు. ఇక్కడ లక్షల మందికి ఉద్యోగాలు ఇస్తున్నారు. అండ్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం ఈ ఏరియాలో మీకు వరల్డ్ క్లాస్ 5-star హోటల్స్, స్కూల్స్, మెయిన్ థింగ్ స్కూల్స్, హాస్పిటల్స్ అండ్ మాల్స్, హోటల్స్ ఇవన్నీ రావడం జరిగింది. సో అందుకు వీ ఫీల్ ఎట్లయితే హైదరాబాద్ తెలంగాణ క్యాపిటల్, హైదరాబాద్కే క్యాపిటల్ ఈ ఫైనాన్షియల్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్. ఎందుకంటే క్యాపిటల్ అంటే ఏంటిది, అన్ని వసతులు ఉండాలి అక్కడ. అన్ని వసతులు అందరికీ ఉంటే క్యాపిటల్. అందుకు ఈ ఏరియాలో అవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి అందుకని ఈ ఏరియాని అలా అంటున్నాం మేము.
ముందు ముందు ఇంకా డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ వైజ్గా కూడా మీ ఏఎస్బిఎల్ వచ్చే అవకాశం ఉందా? ఓన్లీ మెట్రోపాలిటన్ సిటీస్కే ఉంటుందా?
మేము ఇప్పటికైతే మెయిన్లీ సిటీస్ వరకే పరిమితం అండి. బట్ నెవర్ ద లెస్ వీఆర్ ఇవాల్యుయేటింగ్. ఈ నెక్స్ట్ 3 yearsలో అయితే ఏం లేదు, కానీ దాని తర్వాత మేము కూడా మల్టిపుల్ స్మాలర్ Tier 2 సిటీస్ ఏదైతే అంటున్నామో అది కూడా స్టడీ చేస్తున్నాము. అండ్ ఎక్కడెక్కడైతే ఆపర్చునిటీస్ బాగా వస్తాయి, ఎస్పెషల్లీ మేము హౌసింగ్గా ఏంటంటే ఎక్కడెక్కడైతే ఉద్యోగాలు బాగా వస్తాయో అక్కడికి మేము వెళ్ళడం జరుగుతుంది. ఈ మధ్యలో మనం చూస్తే ఇన్ఫోసిస్, TCS లాంటి కంపెనీస్ Tier 2 సిటీస్కి వెళ్ళి వాళ్ళ ఆఫీసెస్ సెటప్ చేస్తుండ్రు. సో దాన్ని మేము కేర్ఫుల్గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తున్నాము. ఒకసారి అక్కడ ఆఫీసెస్ సెటప్ అయ్యి జనాలు వెళ్ళడం మొదలు పెడితే వీ విల్ బి గోయింగ్ అండ్ బిల్డింగ్ హౌసింగ్. డెఫినెట్లీ అండర్ కన్సిడరేషన్ అండి.
Naturally, for any micro market to boom, you need lot of job generation. ఎంత జాబ్ జనరేషన్ ఉంటే ఆ మైక్రో మార్కెట్లో అంత ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ వస్తుంది. ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ వస్తే అంతమంది పీపుల్ ఆ మైక్రో మార్కెట్కి మూవ్ అవుతే రియల్ ఎస్టేట్ అక్కడ మచ్ బెటర్ అవుతుంది. నెక్స్ట్ ఇస్ సోషల్ ఇన్ఫ్రా. నౌ న్యాచురల్లీ సోషల్ ఇన్ఫ్రా ఇస్ సంథింగ్ విచ్ జనరలీ డజంట్ గెట్ స్పోకెన్ అబౌట్ యాజ్ మచ్. బట్ వాట్ వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ దీస్ డేస్ ఇస్ especially when you have lot of IT parks and IT zoning, without social infra, IT ecosystem is not thriving very well, because naturally people who are working in these IT offices earn more money, they require more services, right? Like schools, especially restaurants, hotels, these all become very, very important, which I've covered in social infra segment. Next, something which we have been seeing historically across various cities world over research and here also is walkability. There is a particular premium in ROI, that is better performance of the investment, if the real estate there is more walkable. Matlab people who are staying there can walk to their work. In that case, there's more premium which that particular real estate commands. Then I've made a broad analysis on the rental analysis. Now, if you look at in real estate, people invest for buying at early price and then exiting at higher price for capital appreciation. But a lot of real estate investment happens even for rental investment. That is, I buy a property and then I'll start enjoying the rents, which will act as an income supplementation. Especially what we are seeing in customers who are reaching 50 years plus, they are realizing that they are going to retire in the next 5-10 years. So they're developing a rental income so that it will supplement their monthly earnings once they retire. So all of this 5 framework, on the basis of these 5 points, let us analyze financial district. Yeah, so with respect to connectivity, I pulled out this data, something very, very important. So what this data is saying is, this is a computation of how many hours in a day are people losing purely in their commute to offices. That is traffic jams valla. Any useful hours. Again, when we are commuting to our office, you can realize that it's a very useful hour, right? It is when we are awake and all. Like in 24 hours, generally 8 hours we need to discount because we'll be sleeping. We will not be doing any active work. So 16 hours lekkalne chustunte okate, how many hours are lost simply due to traffic jam anedi, this is the data what we have compiled. And if you look, Hyderabad is the least amount of hours lost due to traffic conditions. So our traffic, our transportation infrastructure is the best in the country compared to all the major cities. You can see Bangalore and Delhi and Bombay are very, very high. And then Kolkata and Chennai is like sort of mid, and Hyderabad is 85. Bangalore is 129. Matlab somebody staying in Bangalore will lose 50 working hours more per annum when compared to Hyderabad. So Hyderabad is the most, I would say, efficient from a urban mobility and a traffic standpoint. In fact, this has become one major reason. In I think 2 weeks back in major newspapers and all, there came an article that a lot of GCCs, global capability centers, what we call, are now looking at Hyderabad actively when compared with Bangalore, and one major reason was cited the traffic situation, right? So Hyderabad currently stands at amongst the top 7 metros of the country. It is a city which is the most efficient traffic management or urban infrastructure. So something which is growing, pushing the connectivity of this area. Now next, the government also has recently announced that they're planning to expand the metro next phase from KPHB to financial district. Again, financial district is one neighborhood with enormous amount of job generation going on. Yearly millions of square foot are getting leased in this neighborhood, and connecting it with Kukatpalli, KPHB, which is mainly an housing micro market, will greatly reduce the traffic from the roads. That will give it the next extra boost. And in fact, for most of the GCCs, global capability centers and large scale IT parks, now it is sort of almost becoming mandatory that they stay in walking distance from metros. In fact, most of them, if you see in the morning office hours and in the evening hours, there are a lot of shuttles which run from these IT campuses to the metro station also, to connect people the last mile from metro to their offices. So this particular infrastructure is greatly going to decongest further financial district and further going to improve its positioning from a IT office micro market, right? So this is what is the total financial district. Roughly, we have sort of put it on a map. You can see there's so many offices from top companies in the world. In fact, for majority of the FANG companies, US like Madala, there is a term called FANG. For Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, these companies are called the FANG companies. Most of the FANG companies have their biggest headquarters after their main America one in Hyderabad. Amazon has the biggest headquarters after their Seattle one in Hyderabad. Google has their biggest headquarters after their Mountain View, California one in Hyderabad. Microsoft also has got a very, very big establishment here. So this has become like a very sought after destination for all the major IT parks, and you can simply see it on the map on various, all the pointers what we have kept, right? Let's go to the next one. So this is what is this micro market doing from a connectivity standpoint, which become the bedrock for any IT leasing or any office consumption. So now let's talk about the nearby offices. Of course, there has been a lot of information which is coming out into the press and everywhere that the leasing has been very strong last year. This year again, we are looking at 12.5 million square feet plus leasing. So first, let me talk about what this millions of square foot means. Because generally when it comes out 10 million, 12 million, 13 million, okay, but what does this mean? Actually, leasing into it. So to put it in very plain perspective, every million square feet means 10,000 jobs, right? When these IT companies lease space, their per capita space provisioning, that is for every employee, how much space is required, that is 70 square feet, and another 30 square feet you put of common areas and lift areas and all of that. So per employee, the space they are provisioning is 100 square feet per person. So 1 million under 10 lakh square feet. 10 lakh square feet divided by 100 is 10,000 jobs. So for every million square feet, we are going to generate 10,000 jobs. And if you look at the last year leasing of 12.5 million, it means we are creating a job demand of 1,25,000 jobs are going to come up in the area, just in this two neighborhoods, Raidurg and Financial District. So if you look at Hyderabad, the projection running at 12 to 13 million of leasing every year, this year and for the next couple of years also, it means the city is generating jobs of 1,25,000 to 1.5 lakh new IT jobs. Again, it's very, very important to note that these are IT jobs. Why I'm telling that? Because IT jobs have got the highest pay, right, compared to most other sectors. In IT industry, people are earning very high pay. So because of that, they tend to consume more. That is, they're going to take more services, right? Like be it schools or be it restaurants or be it entertainment, all of that they're going to spend more, which will in turn create a consumption-based economy, right? It will boom, it will boost the economy. So these are the key things to note. So we are doing a job generation of 1,25,000 to 1,50,000 people in IT in the IT workforce every year for the next 2 to 3 years. And last year we have done 1,25,000 job requirement. Lot of tech development of these companies are now happening out of these centers. R&D development is happening. In fact, major office, I would say management sort of thing is happening from here. So how they say China is the factory of the world, right? Everybody talks about the manufacturing success of China, how almost everything in the world gets manufactured out of China. India is now becoming the office of the world. All the major corporates across different geographies, particularly West, that is America and Europe, are setting up their offices and moving majority of their operations to India. In that, Hyderabad and Bangalore, one of the front-running cities. And this is what is happening in global capability centers. Even upstream activity like tech development and R&D development are happening. These are some of the top companies there. So I've broadly pulled out the data of, I would say, some of the well-known companies to give you an understanding of what has happened in recent timelines. I would say in the last 6 months to 1 year. All of us know TCS, one of the top IT recruiter in the country. They have leased million square foot, thereby looking at employing close to 10,000 people in their campus in financial district. Costco, which is, to put it in perspective, America's one of the biggest supermarket company, right? They have opened their global capability center. Now, all of us know McDonald's, it's very famous fast food giant. They have opened up their global capability center in Hyderabad. So these are all, they have given the estimates of what people they are looking to hire in the immediate 1 to 2 year period. And in the long term, they have given a projection for more employment, right? So Google, Microsoft have actually recently leased some square foot. In fact, that rent became one of the top rent in the whole ecosystem, actually, not just in Hyderabad. Close to, they signed a rental lease of close to 250 rupees per SFT. Recently, I think it's 1 month back, and Apple has recently leased, they're expanding their R&D center out of Hyderabad. And then Qualcomm, these are all, I think Qualcomm is a chip, on a phone load chips as a company, right? So this is all the things from a IT office space standpoint, the sort of companies which are coming in also. We are not, it's not like any ordinary companies are coming in. Of course, there are a lot of room. We have small and medium scale IT companies also operating, but mainly these neighborhoods are being taken up by the large scale big tech companies, what we call. And Hyderabad mein, another reason, another way what's happening also is that majority of the IT agglomeration, right, or IT leasing is happening mainly in the west of Hyderabad, right? If you look broadly the way how our city is sort of generating employment, you have IT on the west of Hyderabad, mainly in two neighborhoods, Raidurg and Financial District, right, which is where your entire 12 to 13 million of square foot is getting leased. Then in the north, we are also the pharma capital of India and probably one of the top 5 to 7 pharma clusters in the world, right, which is where your Genome Valley and the north of Hyderabad. So north of Hyderabad is where most of your manufacturing industries are sort of positioning and built up facilities. That is the north. So manufacturing, you can take it like a mid-tech manufacturing. Pharma is like a mid-tech manufacturing. And then on the south of Hyderabad, in the Kongar Kalan area and all of that, you have high-tech manufacturing like electronics and all, which are being manufactured out of your south of Hyderabad. In fact, Foxconn has recently opened their facility phase 1, in which they are employing close to 20,000 people. Once the entire facility will be handed over in 28, they will be employing 1 lakh people only in one compound, manufacturing electronics, right, which will be exported. And in that entire ecosystem, government is, along with the fourth city, they are planning for an employment generation of almost 3 lakh in the fourth city and another 2 lakh from this Kongar Kalan area. So 5 lakh employment base will be getting created in the south of Hyderabad. So you have west, you have IT, north, you have mid-tech manufacturing, and south, you have high-tech manufacturing, which is mainly electronics-based manufacturing. So many times it gets discussed that is the, sort of job generation more concentrated in Hyderabad? No, it's spread out on north, west, and the south. So these are the things from an employment or job generation standpoint, what's happening in Hyderabad. Next, let's talk about the social infra, something very, very important, because again, if companies have to come and set up their offices, then you need employees who can come and work there. If the employees are not coming, then companies will not be able to set up their offices. So when people come and work, what are the facilities that micro market or neighborhood is offering? Mainly, as I mentioned earlier, transportation is one very important thing. After that comes everything got to do with your water infrastructure. Again, in India, water infrastructure is very, very important. So how are we doing with respect to water infrastructure? So presently our water supply is 2080 million liters per day. And if you look in the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to take it up from 550 mgd to 835 mgd. Almost 60% improvement is what government works are in pipeline. They are doing the Godavari phase 1 water connection to the city. So that is going to improve the water, availability. And next is one very important thing, because of all these infrastructure things which are continuously being taken in Hyderabad, the per capita availability of water, per capita supply of water is very, very high, which is 150 liters per person per day. This is a high per capita availability of water. So naturally, this will keep us much more resilient to drought conditions. Again, I'm not saying that droughts will never come. It will come. It's sort of not totally in our hand, but we can manage it much, much better compared to our competing cities. So in terms of water, Hyderabad has been doing relatively much, much better. In fact, in terms of water uh, pipeline, almost 80% better metrics than Bangalore. Recently, it was, I think, 3-4 months back, it was released in TOI also. We'll share the data. But yeah, water is a very, very important aspect from a social infra standpoint. Next, if you look at financial district, another again, because there are many offices, there will be many people who will be staying in that area. This area has 15 schools. Again, a neighborhood with one of the highest concentration of schools. 15 schools is what we have. We have from CBSE to international schools, something which caters to the aspiration of people living in the neighborhood. So slowly, slowly, financial district is even becoming the entertainment capital of Hyderabad. Within Hyderabad is the capital of Telangana. If you look in Telangana, if you look in Hyderabad, financial district is even becoming. It is already the office capital. Now it's becoming the entertainment capital also. Now to attract global scale talent, we need to have facilities which are also global scale, and that is not just offices and housing. It's even entertainment spaces like your restaurants, your malls, and all of that. So we have 20 plus F&B spaces which are set up in financial district, and many more are actually planned in this neighborhood. In fact, if you look at some of these facilities, they're probably one of the biggest centers in the country only. They have 30,000, 40,000 square feet of F&B space under a single compound. So those are very, very large sizes, which is showing to the sort of demand which is sort of projected in this area in the next years to come by. So now all of these things, you have high density of offices, you have high density of you have a lot of housing, you have a lot of F&B, a lot of schools. So all of this is eventually going to make this micro market walkable, right? Which we feel at ASBL is the most important, aspect of managing traffic conditions. Is that you give less reason to take the car out only. If people are staying within 1 kilometer radius of their office, if the school is in 1 kilometer of their office, if the restaurants and all are in their 1.5 kilometer of their office, then we can push the neighborhood towards walkability. Now, of course, here some aspects have to be done where we're working with policymakers also and presenting the view case is that let's increase the footpath size. If you look one thing across the country, what we see is our footpath sizes are really small, because of which the conditions are not safe for pedestrians to walk, especially when everything is in the neighborhood. See, if things are far away, then I need to remove my car, which is adding to the traffic jam. But if things are close, if the office building is right across my road, I should be able to walk. Thereby, I don't need to remove my car from the garage. So walkability is something which we feel, right? So space is there. Maybe we can sort of reduce one lane and increase the walkability, make a bigger footpath so that people can walk more. Like especially with our project Loft, in 400 meters, we have the Prestige Skytech IT Park. Right, in another 200 meters, next slide, we have the Kalyani Tech Park. So I'm just to explain how walkability works. Now for people who are staying in these communities, we have 2-3 other communities there. In between these two IT parks, there are 2 million is the size of each of these IT park. Matlab in both these IT park combined, it's 4 million square feet of leasing space in which 40,000 people will be working. Almost combined in between both of these buildings, it's 80% leased out. 40,000 people will be working in that space. They can simply, those who are staying here can simply walk there. So that's how walkability is going. Imagine now this community has 900 apartments, out of which let's say even 20% are staying in that building. That is 200 people. So 200 less cars on the street, right? So walkability, generally metros and all, public transport gets spoken about, gets a lot of attention from reducing the traffic. But an even more important thing according to us is walkable, because this neighborhood has everything. There is no reason for people to, remove their car out and travel for small things like, going to your, for things like going to your office or going to your groceries. None of that is required. Everything is available in the neighborhood. You walk for 10 minutes, you have your groceries, you walk for 10 minutes, you have schools, offices, and restaurants. So this way, this micro market can have lesser traffic load onto the road, which is very important, and what we think, use the time however they want. So living in these neighborhoods has that extra comfort which one can achieve in their lives. Now, all these three things, these four things put together, right? Connectivity, offices, availability of social infra, walkability, all of that, what it has made is, it has made the financial district a sort of a residential hotspot, not just from a end use perspective, but even from a rental perspective. I'll share some of the data and statistics also, what we have pulled out from online portals, right? So people who are investing in these areas from a rental standpoint, on an average, are earning very good rental return of close to 5% rental yield, which is very high when it comes to resi. So we have pulled out this data from Common Floor and all of these listing portals. So that has a lot of wide amount of data. So if you look in all of this, naturally this gives a rental sort of expectation for each of those sizes in each of that micro market. As you can see very clearly here, financial district is dominating this particular aspect of rental returns. And again, when it comes to rental, people are looking at, see basically who are the people who are staying for rental is newly married families. Newly married families who have not yet conceived children are the people who are consuming this asset, and people who are the people who are investing in rental are people who want to make supplemental income. That is, they are looking to retire in the next 7 to 10 years, so they're planning to develop an alternate income. Those are the people who are investing in this. Approximately 50 rupees per SFT of rent in a housing, which is very sort of a unheard of thing. But yeah, that's what the data and the stats are pointing out. But again, if when somebody wants to earn such high rentals, walkability is becoming very important. Now, you can have projects within the same neighborhood, but if they're on the other side of the ORR, then you can't walk. You have to bring out your car. You need to evaluate from a walkability standpoint. That is, people who are staying here, can they walk to their office literally? If they can, then that gets an extra premium, right? So if you do that, you can get a 50 rupee rental expectation can be set up in the 1700 to 1800 square feet apartment zone. Naturally, as apartment size increases, your rental yield decreases. Matlab, you might earn 1 lakh rent, but if you're doing it on a 2500 square foot, your rent per SFT comes down. Earning 85,000 in a 1700 1800 square foot, you will earn a much more rent per SFT. So people have to look at yield from a rent per SFT, because that is what will give you an ROI. Right now, the problem what's happening with investing at a retail level, at an individual level in commercial properties is, first and foremost, what's happening, the entire floor plate is undivided. Let's say there is a 50,000 square feet of office space, right? Somebody is going and purchasing 1,000 square feet. That 1,000 square feet cannot be demarcated. If it's demarcated, then it becomes ever more impossible to put it on lease, because the leasing is done by a centralized agency at a building scale. So while investing in commercial, one big disadvantage is being there is no ownership of your particular space which you are buying. Next thing, when you want to exit, when you want to sell and exit, it's very difficult for an outsider to come and give you an exit, because again, it's a joint ownership property. So it's most of the time what happens is, with sufficient, it takes a long amount of time, but eventually somebody part of that, I would say part of that group only ends up buying. So the transferability is not very convenient. And next, the rental is not in your direct control. Actually, it can't be done, because when you're leasing to offices, control over what is the rent you get to choose from. Whereas in residential, again, this is only in few select pockets where there's good employment generation and there's walkability. There, naturally residential mein leasing is in your direct control. It's your flat. You get to decide how much rent you want to give it to and to whom you want to give it to. You get to decide that. Next, the what do you say? The property is demarcated. In this case, it's your flat. You have the ownership of your flat clearly established. So it's a demarcated property. Hence, exiting or selling it is a lot easier. You have to just sell your flat compared to commercial sort of situation there. And another thing also what's happening in commercial buildings is, especially in properties where you have multiple owners, right? Those buildings are not the first priority for all large IT companies, because what's happening is they don't want to deal with multiple tenants, especially when there is a capex problem. What is the capex problem? Let's say today a large company has signed a rent with one of the floor which has like 50 owners, let's assume, lease from multi ownership properties. They want to deal with properties which have one or two owners, not more than that. So that is being seen as a major preference. That's why you see buildings which have single ownership, one or two ownership, are performing at not only 50, they are performing at a much higher rental than buildings which have lot of owners, and they are even getting leased. And in fact, there's hardly any supply of those buildings actually. So these are all some of the tilt in market conditions which has happened when investing between residential and commercial. So this is how from a rental standpoint that location is doing. So yeah, so that's it from my side. So I wanted to talk about financial district from a framework standpoint, mainly the connectivity, the nearby employment generation, that is the offices which have been coming up, then the pura social infra situation, particularly schools and F&B centers, and then sort of this entire thing around rental comparison, how rents are behaving in the neighborhood. So a little bit about us. We are ASBL, so we build housing. So we are into apartment building. Currently, this is our project Loft, which is in this vicinity, and it's almost 60% done. So we'll be handing over it in December 2026. So Loft, which is it's 894 apartments. The sizes are 1700 square foot 3 BHK apartments and 1900 square feet 3 BHK apartments. Right, almost work is 60% done. There are two towers. Both the towers are approximately 30 floors done. It's 45 floors totally. So December 2026, we will be handing over this project. And again, it comes with all latest amenities. Like it has a 5,000 square feet co-working space, because most of the people here, as you can see, are all surrounded with large scale IT companies. And if you see these days, work from home is something which is prominent thing. People are doing once or twice a day. So we have given 5,000 square feet of co-working space in this. And again, a lot of people who are sort of planning to stay here, we have seen that are very new parents. That is, their age group is 35. So we have given close to 5,000 square feet of creche also, right beside the co-working space. The idea was the mother can drop the kid at the creche and work in the co-working space in the immediate building, and she can go back in case the child needs her. That was the idea. So yeah, so this is a little bit about Project Loft. Hi.
Hi. So, Project Loft, we have seen so many projects coming in financial district. So, how do you see that kind of competition, and how unique are you from the other sellers?
Okay.
Because
See,
everybody says that they are the best, and how do you differentiate it?
see, two, three things, ma'am. That's a good question, actually. So everybody now knows in real estate that location is the most important thing, right? Now we can't even be called a builder if we get the location wrong. So location is paramount, the most important thing. But the thing which is now evolving, which is now emerging, is not location. It's product market fit. You will keep hearing this terminology more in the startup industry, right? So what is this product market fit? Product market fit is, okay, what is for that market condition there, who is the buyer, right? What product they need, is there a under supply or over supply of that product? That becomes very, very important. So one key way how we differ is in our product market research. If you look at Loft, this is the only project which is in the 1700 and 1900 square foot segment, right? Making it a very undersupplied inventory in that micro market. If you look at most of the micro market is around 3000 square feet and above. Now, most of the people, I've spoken about so much jobs which are being generated. Now, most of the jobs which get generated at what? Like if you look at the top 30% of the jobs, they get generated at roughly 24 lakhs to 30 lakh package per annum. Now, people who are earning 30 lakhs package per annum, they cannot afford like a 3000 square feet or a 4000 square feet. So we have particularly designed it for them. So, and this inventory size is not available in financial district, especially after 2021, no launches have come up here. So this is what we call product market fit, and that is ASBL's one key unique differentiation. And rest I have mentioned you how we are studying our customers. Like we have realized that a lot of our customers here are new families, right? That is, they have 43% of them have a 0 to 4 year kid in their family. So that is when we came up with a, generally if you look at crash, many communities give, but it's some 1,000 square feet given in some corner of the building. We have given 5,000 square feet right on the podium floor. And right beside it, we have given a co-working space because the mother can work and look after her child. So this is how we tend to be different. So I would coin it simply the product market fit. Yes,
Hi,
yeah.
sir.
Hi.
Sir, many developers face criticism and around the delivery
Many
time.
who, sorry?
Many developers
Uh-huh.
face criticism around the delivery timelines and transparency.
Mhm.
So, how does the ASBL ensure the trust and credibility within the customers regarding the delivery timeline?
Good question, Andy. So we have been the first builder from Hyderabad who on a monthly basis started putting every project construction video on YouTube. In fact, if you go, I would recommend any of you are interested, you can go check out our YouTube channel ASBL India. You'll see these YouTube videos from 2021 December nunchi. So it's not like 1 month that we have done. Every month from 2021 December of every of our project, we have put monthly construction video. Because see, a lot of our customers are NRIs also. Good number of people who purchase with us are NRIs. పర్టికులర్లీ ఈ ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఎన్ఆర్ఐ కస్టమర్కి ఉంటుంది. సార్ నేను 2 కోట్లు పెట్టి ఫ్లాట్ కొంటున్నాను, మీరు టైంకి ఇస్తారా, ఇవ్వకపోతే ఎట్లా? అండ్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ లైక్ ఇప్పుడు త్రీ ఇయర్స్ 4 ఇయర్స్ హ్యాండ్ ఓవర్ అంటే ఫైనల్లీ 4th ఇయర్ వచ్చి కాలేదు అంటే మేము మళ్ళీ పర్సన్ అవుతాం కదా. డే 1 నుంచే నాకేమైనా తెలుస్తుందని. సో అట్లకెళ్ళి మాకు వచ్చిన ఐడియా. సో 2021 డిసెంబర్ నుంచి ఆల్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ విచ్ వీ హ్యావ్ డన్, every month we take a 2-minute 3-minute video with a drone and put it out there. So that is the best medium to sort of bridge the trust gap. And next, from a construction delivery standpoint, I think in this day and age it's very very important we do financial closure. Chala salu generally if you look at real estate projects, etla avutadante when we get in when a builder gets a site, then as sales happen, they rely on sales purely to build. We don't do that. In fact, not only us, now a good number of organized builders are also relying on that. Now the industry is maturing. One big thing of maturing is what? Okay, is that okay? We are doing financial closure. Okay, how much amount of money I need to have my equity? How much amount of debt I need to have? So that irrespective of sales, at least a 4 years project, 75% of the timeline I should be able to finance it out.